Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining the Spiritist Talk series promoted by the United States Spiritist Federation every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I am very happy to host this talk by Marcio Silva, who will be leading our live with the theme The Times Have Come. So let's all give Marcio a very warm welcome, but please allow me to introduce him before he starts his presentation. Marcio Silva has studied Spiritism for more than 10 years, actively working at the Peace and Knowledge Spiritist Center of Orlando, presenting lecture and slides, and also in its Fraternal Assistance team. Marcio is a Navy officer veteran who has two master's degrees, one with distinction in Telecommunications Engineering from the Naval Postgraduate School in Monterey, California, and the other in Computer Engineering from Universidade de São Paulo, Escola Politécnica. He is also a permanent member, Chair 14, of the Brazilian Academy of Arts and Sciences. So please take this opportunity to send your questions during the presentation using the chat window. Marcio has reserved time to address your comments and questions once he concludes his presentation. And now, Marcio Silva.
Thank you, Bradley. Thank you. I'm pretty happy to be here. It's Let me first express my gratitude to be for this work opportunity here. It's always a pleasure to make this reflection in the spirit knowledge. So sorry. And today we are gonna think about we're gonna discuss about a topic that it's very up to date. It's something that we are looking around and we can see what's going on around me, what's going on in the planet, what's going on. So that's the the topic that we are gonna present today. And feel free at the end to present some questions. And let's start with a question from Kardec in the Spirit's book, the question 932. I think most of us we've got this question in our mind, right? We can see bad guys uh, presenting a successful life or something like that. So why in this world does the influence of the bad often overwhelm that of the good? That's a good question that Kardec brought to the spirits, and let's see what the spirits brought to us. It's very important that we highlight here what the spirits told us. Because of the weakness of the good, look at that weakness of the good, we are so shy. The bad are intriguing and bold, the good are timid. When the latter want to, they will prevail. So it's just a question of our efforts. So if we are planning to supersede the evil, we need to do some effort. We need to propagate the good. We cannot be timid or shy. So that's the main reason that the spirits mention to us why we can see bad being successful, apparently, right? Apparently successful. So, and we have this power. We have this power. We are Superman. We are Superwoman. So we can do that thing by our own efforts. So that's the key point for us to reflect, right? And this time is presenting this difference between the evil and bad very frequently. We can see this difference in the world, in our community, in our country, everywhere we can see this. So that's the invitation. When we reincarnated, so as a spirit, we were invited to participate in this transition. We were invited to supersede the evil. And we have implicit this compromise. That's what we need to keep in mind. Okay? So the spirit is uh, library, we've got a lot of books presenting the current situation that we are living, this transition of the time, right? That we are perceiving everywhere, the growing pains that we're perceiving. In our left here, we've got Kardec, books Kardec articles. First one is the posthum works. It's not a book from Kardec. So after Kardec passed away, some friends from the Spiritist Society of Paris, they got the articles that were not published by Kardec and they concentrated in a book. Right. Unfortunately, it's only Portuguese and France. So we are hoping that someone in US can translate this to an English language. We've got the Genesis as well. The Genesis, we've got a couple chapters presenting this transition. Specific one, the title is exactly the title of this lecture, The Times Have Come. And in the Spiritist Review of October 1866, Kardec also presented what's going on in this transition, the signs and the kind of spirits that will be participating in this transition. And in the Gospel according to Spiritism, it's an important thing because Kardec present the evolution of the world. So we're going to talk a bit about this in this presentation. In this right side, we've got brand new books from Divaldo Franco, three of them from the spirit of Manuel Filomeno Miranda, The Dawn of an Era, a Planetary Transition, On the Way to a World of Generation, and this one from Joanna de Angelis, where the spirits, Manuel Filomeno and Joanna, they are presenting what's going on in the spiritual side, right? We are here in the material world, but what's going on the other side? It's a huge effort from the spirits in this transition that we are facing right now. Okay, so I would suggest if you'd like to go deeper in this topic, feel free to get one of these books here and start your own studies. So to better understand the transition, we need to understand that we've got Jesus managing the earth. So Jesus is the spiritual governor of the earth, as indicated by Emmanuel in this book here, On the Way to the Light. So it's a pretty interesting book that presents all the evolution from the humankind. So here we can see our globe. Uh, it started 4.5 billion years ago, right? And Jesus was in control of that since then, right? We are uh, we are here on Earth, so in about less than 1% of this time. So we cannot imagine that something after 4.5 billion, right, years will get out of control by someone who is here for less than 1% of the time. So Jesus is fully under control. Everything that happened since the beginning, if we can see in this diagram here. So look at all the transitions we had in the earth. And right here, we see this beautiful place that we are living right now, right? Jesus is fully under control. That's important for us to keep in mind and to understand what's going on. Don't desperate because we've got a pure spirit, which is Jesus, who is Jesus, that is fully under control of everything that is happening here on earth. And talking about him, so it's good for us to go to the gospel and see this one in Matthew 24, the prophetic sermon. I just highlighted few topics of this sermon for us to better understand. So when Jesus was talking to the people, he was talking not referring to the material world, but to the spirit, right? It's not to the material world. So everything that we read in the gospel, we need to translate to the spiritual language, not to the material language. And here, in the first versicle, Jesus was at the temple with the disciples, and the disciple was telling him the structure of the temple. And then Jesus said to them, truly I say to you, there will not be left here one stone upon another that will not be thrown down. Jesus was not referring to the rocks or to the structure of the temple. Jesus was referring to the hypocrisy, the selfishness, the proudness represented by the temple, by the religious in the temple. That's what he was talking about, right? He was not talking that the temple will be fallen down by someone or something like that. He was telling that everything around that thing in the spiritual side will be thrown down. That's what we are starting right now. And in the versicle 5, another important thing about the versicle, it's an invitation from Jesus that we should know him. We should know who is Jesus. What is the message that he's representing? For many will come in my name, saying, I am the Christ, and they will deceive many. How can you identify a fake Christ if you don't know the real one? So in the versicle 5, he's inviting us to understand Jesus, understand the message, right? In the versicle 6, he is referring to wars and rumors of wars, but do not be alarmed. For all this must happen, but this is not yet the end. It's very comforting because if we think about the material world, the humankind was facing wars all the time. So it's not this, it's the wars in the spiritual world. So the ideology, evil and good. So we are seeing this fight getting bigger and bigger and bigger and growing, right? But this is not the end. Continue here in the versicle 8. These are the beginning of the sorrows. That's what we are facing right now. That's the beginning of the sorrow, right? And in the versicle 12, we can see here highlighted, because of the wickedness abounds, love of many will grow cold. So we are perceiving that people everywhere are not feeling warm, are not feeling uh, in terms of consolating each other. So they are missing the love to each other, right? And the last one, the 14, here in this page, and the gospel of the kingdom of God will be preached in all the world as the witness to all nations, and then the end will come. The end here is not the end of the material, it's the end of this phase that we are living right now at the proof of an atonement place, right? This is going to be the end when all the gospel, the message that Jesus presented 2,000 years ago, will be being practiced, right? So that's the idea. It will take longer. Yes, it will take longer. We are in the beginning of sorrow, but this is what we are facing. And this was presented by Jesus in his prophetic sermon. Okay, so let's continue here. So to understand this evolution, we need to understand the different categories of inhabited worlds that was pretty well presented by Kardec in the chapter 3 of the Gospel according to Spiritism, right? A good news here is that this curve here is always up in the upward direction. It never goes down. And we are here in the atonement of proofs where we can see the predominance of evil. And we are heading to the regeneration phase where the souls are going to be aware of evil. Most of the souls are going to be Okay, I understand evil. The evil still exists, but I know what is evil. I can make the separation. And then we are moving up to the happy worlds where good completely outweighs evil until the divine celestial, right? We are pretty close to this caveman here, as we can see, but we are moving ahead. We are in the beginning of this transition. That's what we are perceiving, and I'm going to show you in the upcoming slides the signs and what's going on in the spiritual side. Okay, and also to understand this transition, we need to understand the spirit scale because the earth is a world of proof and atonement. Most of the spirits living here are in the third order, imperfect spirits. If you think you are not imperfect, I would suggest you to talk to your guardian angel because he's going to discuss with you what is going to be the right place for you. But I can assure that most of us are in this third order of imperfect spirits. But good news as well, this curve is upward. We don't fall back, right? We can live in a world that is not so perfect, in a world that it's a primitive one, but our scale, our evolution is always upward, right? And each one of us has a different curve. Someone can go faster, someone can go slower, but we are always going up. And the way that we should promote the earth is being a good spirit, doing our efforts to become good spirits. Once we become good spirits in majority, then the earth will be a better place. So pretty obvious, pretty understandable, pretty logic what Kardec presented to us. Okay, so let's understand this regeneration of humanity that we are facing right now. In this, the Spiritist Review, October 1866, and the posthumous workers from Kardec. Kardec presented that a great emigration is taking place at this time among the ones who inhabit the earth, right? Basically, those who practice evil for evil's sake will be sent to other orbs, to a planet that is more aligned to their evolution, okay? Because Earth needs to move on in the progress. They are interfering in this progress. Then they need to move on, like probably we did a long time ago when we migrated from other orbs or other planets, right? Because of our situation, we were interfering in the development of the planet. And then we migrated. A good example is presented in the migrants from Capella, Chapel. Okay, these spirits will atone for the hardening in lower worlds, as I said, but it's not a punishment at all. It's just an alignment, and they also will have the opportunity to assist the development of these worlds, right? So, like we did in the past, we helped the development of the planet Earth, and then the ones that are going to migrate from the planet Earth will help the primitive worlds to develop and make the planet in the evolution of the world. Okay, and the situation, this transition is being we are facing a gradual replacement by better spirits, right? We are not perceiving that thing right now because we are in the very beginning, but we can see great minds helping the development of the moral. I can give a good example to us. So if we think about 30, 40 years ago, the companies, they don't think about the work-life balance. So we just work 9 to 5, even extra hours. But since the beginning of 2000, mid of the 90s, the company started to think about the importance of work-life balance, right? What does that mean? It means that few people are improving the spiritual sense of the people, right? Make them the transition of the material thing, just think about material stuffs, but also in the spiritual stuffs. Work-life balance is one of them. Okay? Continuing this thing from Kardec. So a good question here is that who would be the potential spirits to emigrate from Earth, from this world? So let's see how Kardec brought this to us. The ones revolted against God with denial of any power above humanity. So very materialized, very tied to the material world. Don't think that we have anyone above us. So the ones with anti-fraternal feelings of selfishness, pride, hatred, jealousy, etc. So the ones that are very, very selfishness, pride, and hatred. So these are the ones, the potential ones to migrate. So the ones with, of course, it's a consequence of the two topics. The predominance of attachment to all that is material. So a very materialized one that thinks that this world is coming from the birth until the tomb only. So pre-attached to the material and not helping anyone, just the material world. And the last but not the least, that's what is highlighted here, the deaf ones to the appeals of good and reason. So in the spirit, it's coming right to this thing, to present to them the appeals of good and reason and faith, plain good. Without charity, there is no salvation. So we've got all the alerts to provide. And the spirit came at the end of the 19th century exactly to promote this thing, to have them hearing what's going on. And we are here exactly to present. That's what we are doing today. So also Kardec presented the signs of time that we are perceiving right now. Let's see the sign of the times, this transition that we are facing. Spirits unaware of the voice of God will cause scourges and calamities. What is interesting here is that so that without wanting it, they will hasten the advent of the era of renewal. So we can see in the media, in the news, that this period we are seeing so many charities, so many activities related to charity around the world. If we face a calamity, we had a calamity last year in Brazil, for example, the south of Brazil, a huge flooding that we never seen so many people helping and giving and donating, providing stuff to the people there. And we can see this thing around the world when we see a calamity or something similar, right? We can see that people are providing charity. A lot of small organizations helping, giving food, uh, talking to homeless, providing clothes to them. So it's growing, right? And most of the calamities are caused by human errors, by the human using uh, the free will for not a good purpose. For example, wars, political negligence in terms of cleaning up the streets to avoid flooding, and so on. So that's what Kardec brought to us here. That's something that we can see in all statistics and everywhere. the media is also propagating this, these numbers. Suicides will multiply in unprecedented proportions. That's so sad, even among children. So I think most of us, we know children in high school and middle school, and we hear some not good news about children's suicide. So that's a sign of the times. And this one is also very interested what Kardec brought to us. Madness has never struck so many men. You can see the madness everywhere. So people are getting mad for silly stuffs. And even before they die, will be whipped out of the number of the living. So drug addiction is one example, right? It's so sad. But before they die, they are wiped out of the number of the living, right? If you see a drug addicted in the street, we've got a lot of films in the internet presenting it. It's so sad. It seems that they were wiped out before they died. So you see, it's pretty clear what we are facing here, and Kardec brought to us more than 150 years ago. So in the Spiritist Review, Kardec brought also a good message for us. Do not believe, however, in the end of the material world. So people are saying that a meteor will come, something will hit the earth and will explode the earth. Another nuclear war will kill everybody. No, do not believe in the end of the material world. Humanity has reached one of its periods of transformation, and the earth will rise in the hierarchy of the world. So we will rise. As I said before, the curve is upward. There is no way back. We are moving up. It's not, therefore, the end of the material world that is being prepared, but the end of the moral world. That's what Jesus told us in the prophetic sermon when he was mentioning the temple. The rocks will fall down, the temple will fall down. This moral world, the old man, will be destroyed, will be removed from here. It's the old world, the world of prejudice, selfishness, pride, fanaticism that is unraveling. So it's basically don't desperate, just help the transition, and we are going to discuss how we can help on this transition, on this regeneration. A good question that is coming to us nowadays is that is there any specific date for the earth to become a world of regeneration? So we see some people in the internet saying that 2050, 2057, and we had in the past in 2000, 2012. So every time we've got some predictions like that, right? That the world will be destroyed, the world will be over, and so on. But let's refresh one thing that Kardec mentioned in the Medium's book, in the item 267, when Kardec was in the chapter was presenting the identity of the spirits. So I'm just going to read for you here what Kardec brought to us in the Medium's book for us to think about if we receive some kind of prediction with a date. Privileged spirits are further recognizable by their willingness to foretell the future and to specify the dates of physical events. Look at that, specify the dates of physical events that we should not know about. Good spirits may enable us to have a presentiment of future things when such knowledge is useful. Look at that. If such knowledge is useful, but they are never precise as to date. Any proclamation of an event to happen at a specific time is an indication of fraud. So it's a pretty strong word that Kardec mentioned. So we should not take into consideration. We need to use our reasonable faith and understand what's going on. And going back to the prophetic sermon, at the end of the prophetic sermon, this message was brought by Matthew. And what Jesus told him concerning this day and hour, no one knows anything, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, Jesus. Only the Father knows, only God knows. So we don't know when it's going to happen. It depends on us. It depends on our efforts to improve, right? We can accelerate or we can slow down depending on us. So if we do our efforts in this direction, then we are gonna expedite this transition. But if we become so lazy and wait for others to do something, then probably it will take much longer, right? And how can we collaborate with this planetary transition? That's a good point. That's the message that we should bring to us and perform our homework on this. Spreading good and not spreading evil. That's so easy for us using the social network, the internet message systems, and so on to spread something that is not so good. So if you're spreading something that is not so good, we are not helping the planetary transition. So let's do this filtering before sharing something and spreading or broadcasting something that will not help. So that's important as well. So that's what Spiritism is bringing to us, the fully understanding of the immortality of the spirit and its constant development. We presented a few slides back the evolution of the spirits from third order to the first order. We need to understand that we are in constant evolution, but we need to do our own efforts to to bring it up, right? To not stay at the same position for a long time. We need to do our own efforts in this direction. So, how can we improve ourselves without knowing ourselves? So, the practice of self knowledge is key for that. So, if we know ourselves, it will make it easier for us to improve and to go in the right direction. That's something also that the Spiritism is helping us on this. If we read the question 919 in the Spirits book, where Kardec is asking the spirits how what we can do to not be dragged to the evil, and the spirits just answer to him, know thyself. That's what you need to do. And then Kardec was not satisfied with this answer because it's so simple. So how can I do a self-knowledge? And then the question after that is the question 919A, where St. Augustine answered what we need to do to practice a self-knowledge. So every day before going to bed, just remind, just remember what you did during the day, what you did to others, right? So if you put in the other stove and see what you are doing to the others, how you're going to see yourself. So that's an exercise. It's a daily exercise, as Saint Augustine mentioned to us. So that's important because if we know ourselves, we know what we need to improve, and if we improve, we are going to help the the planet transition. Okay, the moral and intellectual evolution. So for us to move up in our evolution, there are two wings, as Emmanuel told us. One wing is the intellectual, the other one is the moral. Intellectual, we are doing good, but the moral, we are not so good. But to evolve and to make our evolution in these two wings, we need to do by our own effort. We should not wait anyone to do this effort in our behalf. We need to do it ourselves. We need to practice. And mainly, we need to be the apprentice of the gospel. As an apprentice, we are allowed to make mistakes, but we need to learn from the mistakes. That's what Jesus told us all the time. So think about that we are all apprentices of the gospel, but we need to put the lessons into practice. Okay? This one, to love God above all things. What does that mean, to love God above all things? It's to honor the life that He gave to us. So use your life for right thing, right? And the second part, which is the second commandment, is to love your neighbor as yourself, which is charity, right? And look at that. Jesus mentioned this second commandment to us. Love your neighbor as yourself, not more than yourself, not less than yourself, as yourself. How can we love yourself without the self knowledge, without understanding what we are doing? So it's all correlated, what we are suggesting here, what we are recommending here, right? So love your neighbor as yourself. Practice charity. Without charity, there is no salvation. Kardec also mentioned to us in the Gospel according to Spiritism. Trust in God and developing a reasoned faith, right? Trust in God. So we are here for something, and God is not punishing us, and our faith should first of all, instead of thinking that we are believing, so I'm sure that I'm passing this situation because I need to learn something. That's a reasoned faith. And and the last but not the least is apply the law of justice, love, and charity in its fullness. Basically, if we follow the these items here, it's going to be much easier for us to apply the law of justice, love, and charity in its fullness. If we follow this recommendation, we are collaborating to the planetary transition, to expedite this transition. And for sure, we are not going to be a candidate to migrate to another world. So I had someone that talked to me that he was saying that I don't want to go back to the planet Earth because planet Earth is becoming so bad, so evil. So I told him I think it's the opposite. I would love to come back here to the planet Earth because if the planet Earth is going up, and if I'm coming back to the planet, it means that I am the right direction. So if someone is going to another planet, I'm not sure if it's going to be in a better shape than the planet Earth. Okay. And also in this book that I mentioned at the very beginning, Joana de Angelis, Spirit by the Hands of Divaldo Franco, she mentioned that this was the last book published by Divaldo Franco, who discarnated last April. And look at this message here. The great moral progress of humanity, that's what we are targeting, is germinating. It's in the beginning. And soon, like the calm that follows the storm, you will see it everywhere. And a hymn of praise to life and love. Be part of this dawn and be happy from now on, right? The recommendations that I presented in the previous slide. So it's exactly inviting us to be part of this dawn, and then we're going to be happy from now on, aligned with what Joanna de Angelis mentioned in this book. Okay, to wrap up in this, the chapter 3, item 11 of the Gospel, Kardec brought to us from the spirits a spirit's message saying what's going on here. So let's summarize here. In your world of proofs and atonements, current stage of the planet Earth, you need evil to feel good. You need night to admire the light, sickness to appreciate the health. So this contrast here, I need for us because we are so imperfect that we need the contrast to understand what is evil, what is good, right? On the more evolved worlds, that's what we are targeting. There is no need for such contrast. We cannot imagine a happy world or a divine world with this kind of contrast. The eternal light, the eternal beauty, and the eternal serenity of the soul provide an eternal joy, free from being disturbed by the anguish of material life. Let me repeat here, free from being disturbed by the anguish of material life, or by the contact of the wicked who do not have access there, right? Because it's a happy world, it's a regenerated world. This is what the human spirit still finds most difficult to understand. So here's the final message for us today, and I hope that we are motivated to participate in this transition and do our own efforts in this direction. So thanks and peace for all.
Thank you ever so much, Marcio, for the wonderful insights and reflections you provided us today. Everyone, please stay with us for the Q&A session, which will start shortly after these important announcements. On September 20th, 2025, we celebrated the 19th Spiritus U.S. Spiritist Symposium in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The theme was the evolution of consciousness, a path towards enlightenment. If you're not able to join us, be aware that on the United States Spiritist Federation YouTube channel, there are all the talks, panels, and Q&A sessions which are available. Please check it out. And also check out the continuing podcast-like series, Psychology and Spirituality, A Bridge to a Better Life, based on the works by Joanna G. Angelis. A new episode appears every Friday at 6 p.m. That's at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. It is available on YouTube and Spotify. And there is a new book, which is The Spiritist Review 1866 by Allan Kardec. It is available at the spiritistbooks.us store. And please check out the wonderful and very supportive Spiritist app, Be My Hope, which is available from the App Store and Google Play. This app offers very uplifting content and a collection of videos, daily messages, and audio materials. Please download it today. And there is available 7 free professionally recorded Spiritist audiobooks, sponsored and produced by the Spiritist Society of the Carolinas. At your own pace, you can listen to Allan Kardec's foundational works on YouTube at Spiritist Society Carolinas. And please note, on the screen, you will note there's a QR code. If you wish to help the USSF produce more publications and promote Spiritism to everyone, scan the QR code for your donation today. So let's now turn our attention to your comments and questions. There is still time to send in yours, so please feel free to share your thoughts. From the USS Spiritist Federation, Jesus spoke of the poor in spirit. Are these good people being timid? Okay, it looks like we don't have the audio coming in from Marcio and his response. Um,
Okay, I'm so sorry I was on mute here. So sorry.
Go ahead, Marcio, please.
Yeah, well, yeah. What I'm saying is that what Jesus was saying, poor in spirit, means humble. Humble is the opposite of selfish and prideness, right? But it's so confused nowadays about being humble and being aligned to poverty. There's no relationship between poverty and humble. You can be a rich guy, but very humble one without any selfish or prideness. But you can be a poverty one, but full of humble. But what we can say in practice is that the good ones, let's speak about the good ones, not only the poor in spirit, the good ones, we are very timid because the other side is very noisy, right? The media sells what the media sells. The media sells what is not so good, what attracts attention. Because we are so imperfect in the majority, we are going to be attracted by bad news. The good news, for example, someone is developing new thesis on promoting a cure for some kind of disease. They just not pay attention. But if an artist is being divorced by some kind of gossip or something, this will attract because you're so imperfect, right? Which means that the noisy created by the evil, by the imperfect ones, are much bigger than anything created by the humble one. That's what Kardec was telling us about the good people being very timid. Once we get comfortable in promoting good causes, good initiatives, then we are going to speak louder and the other ones will be diminished.
Thank you very much, Marcio, for this. And from Daniel Santos, people have always gone through big changes throughout history. What are the new, unique events happening today that are truly different from anything humanity has ever experienced before?
Mhm. Yeah, so let me talk a bit about the human history. So we had religion in the past for so many centuries, creating problems, right? When we faced the French Revolution at the end of 18th century, that was a rupture between the state and the religion. And then the material world increased a lot, right, in the 19th century. So what happened by the end of the 20th century is that we cannot live without God. We cannot live without spirituality. So that's the main difference right now. So we are living with the necessity of a spirituality, and spiritism is coming aligned with that. So that's the main difference, right? And all the information that we can see, I can tell you now that a kid in the kindergarten has access to much more information than the Caesar, the Roman emperor. So that's amazing. So we need to use this opportunity to promote the spirituality. And we can see this in the companies, as I said, they are changing their mind. They are giving work-life balance. They are giving more things about so uh, maternity leave. So when I had my kids, the paternity leave was just a week. Right now we've got 3 months, right? It's it's something that it's important to highlight because we are thinking more on people as a human being, not as a machine, like it was in the 19th century and 20th century. That's the main change that we are perceiving right now. It's expediting this transition. Okay.
Very good, thank you. And for our next question, how can we work towards being perfect spirits when surrounded by imperfection in the material world?
Yeah. That's a pretty good question. So actually, that's what I said before. We need to practice our own self-knowledge. Right? What is right is right. What is wrong is wrong. It doesn't mean that someone is doing something wrong, that it's right. So if we talk to our conscience, if we talk to our mind every day, that's what Saint Augustine uh, uh, mentioned to us, right? We can understand what are our virtues and our imperfections, right? If we identify the problem, so I'm talking as an engineer, when we identify a problem, 50% of the problem is solved. Now we need to fix it, right? So if we practice our self-knowledge, we understand our virtues and our imperfections. So let's see how can we improve our imperfections. So if we improve our imperfection, it doesn't matter if you are if someone is influencing you because you know your virtue, you know your imperfection, right? So it's something that we need to deep down inside. Don't look so much outside, right? Look inside and try to fix yourself. So basically, that's the question. That's the question, and that's the point that we need to address. Practice your self knowledge.
Very good suggestions. And from the TVCEI International Spiritist Council, how does the concept of new times challenge us to review our habits, values, and priorities in daily life? Are we truly ready to live according to higher moral principles?
So I would say that we are not ready, but we are doing our efforts to do so, right? That's what is differentiating the ones that are trying to help the planet to improve. Do your own effort. It's pretty common when we go to a mediumship session that the spirits challenge the one that is speaking with them and challenge exactly that. So you are not so perfect. Why are you talking to me like this? The spirits were saying to the ones there. So, and the answer is so simple. I'm exactly as you, but I'm doing my efforts to improve. And we are inviting you to do your efforts as well, right? So the challenge here, it's exactly to practice the self-knowledge. If you practice the self-knowledge, you know what you need to improve, right? And and the higher moral principles, we've got the divine laws inside us. So just ask yourself, am I good? Am I doing right? Am I doing wrong? Then you're gonna receive the answer for sure.
Okay, thank you for that. Uh, do we need to face travesties of different types in order to have renewal?
So once again, I think we are looking to the outside instead. We are prioritizing outside than inside. So if we are facing something that is not making us comfortable, you need to ask yourself why this is making you uncomfortable. Then you understand what is impacting you, right? Because we cannot change the other, but we can change ourselves. So that's the way that we should see. Don't look so much to the outside, but try to look much more to your inside.
Okay, very good. And from the United States Spiritist Federation, how can we determine what is reasonable in faith in forming a good foundation for our beliefs?
So reasonable faith is that we that's what Kardec mentioned to us. Uh, the faith cannot supersede the reason. So if you identify something that does not make sense to you, try to reflect, try to study and understand. So God does not make us to do some kind of self-punishment to improve, right? It's not a self-punishment, right? So the faith, it's exactly understand what are you doing right now? How can you collaborate with you and others, right? Using your virtues to help others, right? So basically, faith is not only belief, but being sure that God is much above us and God is helping us to improve. So any odds that we are facing, any obstacles that we are facing is for some reason. And the reason is to promote our development. That's a reasonable faith, right? And believe that this thing that we are facing is for us to promote ourselves in the direction of good. Basically, that's the way that I would consider.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much, Marcio. And our appreciation to everyone who's watched today's talk live and those who have been following our weekly Spiritist Talk series. And don't miss our live next Saturday, November 12th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, when Eduardo Haddad will discuss How's My Driving? A Spiritist Call to Conscience. So before we close, Marcio, would you please offer a prayer?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's use this time to connect to our guardian angels and mentors and express our gratitude to them for being here. Express our gratitude to God for the life that we received and the way that we are receiving the enlightenment from Spiritism. And keep the light on for us to keep our efforts to show the right way and help us on moving forward in our evolution and also the evolution of the earth. Let's also express our gratitude for the week that we have initiated today and that all challenges that we have faced, that we can receive the light to make the better decision. And let's move on with our self knowledge to help us and improve ourselves. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus, for the message. Thank you all for your patience and have a great week. Thank you.